Hi, Max here. If you sit in Microsoft system and have no time to invest in learning AI, least you can do to stay competitive is get to know Microsoft Copilot. It will boost your existing work by at least 25%, and you do not need any extra knowledge, you just need to know where to use it. Real work jumps across tools, chats here, docs there, design somewhere else, data in another tab. But the cost is not just clicks, it's lost momentum. 2024 research shows 75% of knowledge workers now use generative AI, but the biggest wins come when AI sits inside the system you already live in. Enter the Copilot app, a single workspace wired to your Microsoft 365 identity and content. You chat to move ideas forward, mention different AI agents like visual creation, analysis, research, shape everything in pages, and then export to the tools your team already trusts. For organizations with strict data security needs, data is tied to your tenant. This is the one reason many enterprises standardize here rather than bolt on external tools like ChatGPT. Quick comparison, Gemini for Workspace centralizes AI inside Google Suite. For strict residency, you look at their enterprise controls or Vertex AI. By the way, I have a video somewhere here on how to use it. ChatGPT is excellent as a general creative partner, but to act on your tenant content, you'll need managed connectors and governance. Today's episode show how the Copilot app flow end-to-end inside Microsoft 365. We'll move from idea to asset without context switching, chat, call helpers, analyze data, research, edit in pages, export. If your goal is to speed from concept to deliverable, this will earn its keep. Let's dive in. So in order to use Microsoft 365 Copilot for Microsoft apps, there are actually two options. First, you can be on the personal account. So if you go to Copilot.ai, automatically you will be redirected to private Microsoft account. And here you can use chat as the regular chat with an LLM. You can ask whatever other questions you have. How are you doing? Without even logging in, because I'm not logged in, so that I don't have any license and that's not needed. So here, feeling delightfully today, that's pretty nice. You can pre-select different response times, you can ask it to think a little bit deeper, you can also reference different documents and upload documents that you have. And basically that's it. You can also speak up right in here. Also, the other cool feature that is on the personal account, not on the business account, that I'm gonna focus more about a little bit later, is the labs feature that unfortunately is not so much allowed in Europe and other areas, but you can go and visit and look what are the other options that are provided or Microsoft is actually working on right now. So there is Copilot Actions, Copilot Vision, Appearance and stuff. So these things, I assume they will be released quite soon in Europe, and they are already available in some other countries. Unfortunately, they're not available here in Europe where I'm based, but also those are not some professional features that we're going to focus on right now. What we're going to be focusing right now, how we as a business can be more productive on a day-to-day basis. And now we're going to be talking about professional Microsoft license for business. And in order to have Copilot for business, we need to buy Microsoft 365 Copilot. If we go Copilot.ai and we click sign in, there will be an option to actually sign in with your corporate account. And once you sign in with your corporate account, you will be automatically redirected to this kind of chat window. You can also go and download the app for Windows, and it's gonna look like this, and it's pretty much the same interface. I would say it's just one-to-one the same interface. There are no real difference whatsoever between web application for Copilot or desktop application for Copilot. So whichever you prefer, you may use. So let's discuss a little bit about the interface. So here on the left hand side, you can see different options. You can see agents, you can see conversations, you can see pages that we can talk about a little bit later. There are notebooks, create apps, and admin. So now currently we're going to be focusing on chat, but we're going to go through all of these just in a second. Here you will see an option to switch between work and web versions. So what is the main difference between work and web version? So work version is actually working within your Microsoft OneDrive account and Microsoft SharePoint. Basically, you will be able here to, by pressing / button, you will be able to reference any documents. If I go to the web version and if I click on the / button, I don't see any documents appearing in my OneDrive or SharePoint. So web version is just, a general version that is sort of available to everyone and doesn't have any your company context in it. So the work version will basically see all the OneDrive and SharePoint files and will take them in the context. Okay, here we can see an option to start a new chat, and there are a couple of settings that we can talk about now. So there is a web search toggle that we want to turn on so that whenever we need AI to actually search the web, it will do so. Then we can go to the schedule prompt. We don't have any schedule prompts, but basically the idea is similar to what ChatGPT already have. You can schedule several tasks. For example, send me AI summary every day at 9 a.m. to my inbox or whatever. So every day you will be notified with a specific task that you have provided. And you also have settings. And once we click settings, there is again a very similar option that is provided in the ChatGPT account as well. It's basically providing custom instructions. And here you can provide additional context, what are your interests, how you want AI to respond, what do you want it not to say in particular. So this all goes here, and this will be kind of part of the system prompt if you think so. Whenever you're going to be asking Copilot any question, just before responding, it will take into account all your instructions, so you don't need to write them each and every time. For example, if you want to say, AI, do not hallucinate, you may write it once here and you will not need to edit it later and add to your prompts. For example, I'll go, do not hallucinate in your responses. If you're not sure about the answer, ask additional questions for the context, or say, I don't know. Okay, so now I've written it once and it will keep here forever, and whenever I start a new chat, my Copilot will have this context in the knowledge base. And then there is another thing, which is Copilot Memory, and basically the memory will save all the information about myself. For example, I can go and say, I like playing football. Okay, what's going to happen now, Copilot will understand that this is information about myself, so it will try to memorize this information. And now we can see memory updated. Basically, it went here and we can go to manage memories, and now we see that it has saved the information that I indeed do like playing football. So if you don't think this is the relevant information that it needs to take into account, you can delete that memory, or you can keep it if you're fine with that. And once again, whenever we would be prompting our Copilot, it will have this information in the context about yourself. It will have also custom instructions in the context as well. So make sure to keep that if that's important. If that's not important, make sure to delete irrelevant stuff so you can manage memories right in here. So that's kind of about the interface. And of course, here we have the chat option that we can ask any type of questions, and also we can add any type of content. We can reference our documents within the workspace. We can add additional documents right in here. And this is actually very nice, and it's a difference between the Copilot that we've used in different apps previously. If you haven't seen other videos, Copilot for Word, Excel, Outlook, or any other app, go and check them out on my channel. But the main difference is that when we were using Copilot there, we were not able to upload any other documents rather the ones that are within the workspace. So here now we can upload the documents from the device, or we can attach cloud files that are not actually on our device. So that's kind of another option here if you're using chat instead of Copilot within apps. And again, we can also chat with an agent that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. The last thing, we can also dictate things and basically speak them up loudly with our words instead of writing, which kind of a nice quality of life feature that allows you to do some stuff a little bit faster then. So if I want to quickly test the chat will actually have access to our OneDrive and SharePoint. So we can ask, give me a summary of what information we have about the client Sol Conto, for example. That's one of the clients I have, and I'm sorry for my typos. That wasn't on purpose. There are a lot of typos all in here. So now what I'm asking it to go actually to my SharePoint and OneDrive and search for all the information it has about a particular client. So it says based on 278 relevant files and one meeting found. Okay, that's kind of a lot of information. So here, client identity and conduct, I will hide this information, unfortunately, because that's the confidential information. And then it has the information on services provided. Again, I'm sorry for this, but it's a confidential information that I can't provide, but there are some services that we were offering them. And if we go down, there was a meeting engagement, internal documentation. So just because it has access to all my SharePoint, I can easily work with all my documents. I don't need to switch and search what we're left off with the client. I can basically get everything right in here in a short and nice summary. That's pretty cool, isn't it? But that's not all. Let's actually go, and that's the chat that you can use. You can upload different documents, etc. But the other cool feature is now that we can use different agents. So if I go, for example, to a researcher agent, I can ask it to analyze what are the key benefits of Microsoft 365 Copilot for Microsoft apps. And it will go and make a deep analysis of what are the key benefits for Microsoft apps. I should say this feature, again, is very, very similar to what we have with deep research in ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini or Grok or any other features that most of the leading LLM models right now already have this kind of deep research feature inbuilt. So that works pretty much the same. It asks for additional questions. I will go assume answers yourself because I'm not really interested in the context right now. And then what's going to happen is going to do a deeper analysis that will take it from 5 to 30 minutes to do the analysis, beginning research, and then it will output me a longer document with its finding of the internet and some other documents that it used in its context. So now this will take some time to do, and so that we're not actually wasting time on it to work on this, because now here we can expand and actually explore what things it's actually doing. I'm going to go to the previous chats I've used before to do the same analysis on the same topic to show you what would be the outcome. So as you can see here, I moved to researcher, key benefits for Microsoft 365 for executives. So that's what I asked. That's what were the additional questions. Here I provided additional context and it's done, it's worked. So first of all, it's actually aborted. And the bad thing about this part is whenever you leave the chat, so for example, if you started the analysis, but then you switched somewhere else, the chat apparently abandons. So you will need to come back and say continue. So it will start doing the research over again. So whenever you launch a research or an agent work, make sure you stay within the chat. Otherwise, it drops it for whatever reason. And that's weird and not very convenient. Unfortunately, that's the way it works right now. So here, it actually provided me with the report like this. So here you can see it's a bigger one. So I'm not going to read this one right now, but it's kind of analyzed few sources. If we can see how many sources actually analyzed. So let me actually see, so we can download this as a picture. I'm sorry, not this one. Yeah, unfortunately here we don't see how many sources it actually analyzed. At least at the end, I see that there were something like 20 sources or something. At the end, as we see citations, there's just 6 citations. I'm not sure how many sources it actually analyzed, but kind of it's a larger report that we can use. Also, once we have this report, we can click on Edit in Pages. Pages is basically canvas for ChatGPT. This allows us to edit the text straight in the chat to get the output we really want. For example, if I go there and I see that I don't like in particular this part, I can go and erase this part so we don't have it at all. For example, this part is a little bit too long. I can go here, for example, and I can change the way this information looks. I can change italic, bold, different headings. I can move blocks between themselves. So think about this, working with your text the way you want to work, so that, you know, it's easily done within a certain workspace, and then you can export this document into a Word file, and that's going to be a ready document. So you don't need to work over on it within the workspace. You can actually do this all in the pages. So that's what the pages are for. Okay, so if we go back to our agents, so one of the agents is the researcher, and they will do kind of a deep research on a certain topic for you. It will be browsing web. But also we have Analyst, and Analyst is another agent that will do the advanced analysis for you. For example, let's actually add a certain file. We've got the file called sales data. If we take a quick look, the file looks the following. We've got the order date, we've got the region, category, subcategory, sales amount, costs, and profit. So I may go and ask it, can you make a quick analysis of this data and depict your findings graphically? Okay, so Analyst will be mostly using Python libraries in order to analyze the data, specifically in Excel, because this data can be quite broad and there might be a lot of data actually in it. In my case, there is not so much data, it's just 200 rows, but that's just enough to show you how it actually works. And once again, here I'm using this Copilot for Web version. You can use also this in app. Basically, all the chats will be saved right in here in both of them because you are using the same account. So it just really doesn't matter whichever chat you're using. So here we can see how it actually reasons through the steps to do the analysis for you. Opens the file, reads codes, analyzes plans, exports, again, codes, etc. So doesn't show many details, unfortunately, what it is doing, because if we are on a ChatGPT account, for example, it always show you the code itself so that we can follow. But now here we can actually see, here's a comprehensive visual analysis of your sales data, and we're waiting for the graphs to appear. Here you go. So here's the multi-plot figure, total sales by region, total sales by category, subcategory, monthly sales trend, profit margin, blah, blah, blah. Pretty nice. Again, the only difference probably there that those graphs are not really editable. Those graphs are as images. You can just export the graph, I guess, save image, and just, cut the right graph that you need. Again, if you want to check if the data is correct, you will probably need to go to Excel and check it manually. Most likely, I should say this is correct data, like 99% this is correct, because it's using Python on the backend to do the calculations for you. Okay, so if you need any type of analysis, I suggest using this Analyst feature, but also we can create an agent ourselves. So for example, we can go to create an agent and we should click configure. So let's imagine I'm going to ask my agent, MS Advisory, that's the name of my company, Advisory Assistant. So let's assume this agent helps us with emails. Then we need to give instructions. And here your unique prompting technique comes in place. In my case, I'm not going to waste time on prompting here. I will just go, you're helpful and intelligent assistant that has access to all Maksims Sics emails, and you are going to help with the email content whenever needed. Okay, just very basic prompt. Here you have a limitation of 8,000 symbols, but I think that should be enough for the most cases. So now pretty cool part is that for the knowledge base in ChatGPT, we have to upload certain documents. And the difference here is that instead of uploading certain documents, we can give it access to all websites so that it can browse the web. We can give access to my SharePoint files, folders, and sites, my Teams chat, my emails, my Massive Advisory, which is my SharePoint or this OneDrive or SharePoint, I'm not sure. Probably that's the SharePoint account. Okay, so I can give access to a specific files, or I can give access to, for example, my emails. In case this guy is going to help with emails, so let's set it to my emails. Once again, we can click code interpreter or image generator. In my case, I just don't need it, so I'll just click create. And once you click create, basically we'll have an agent that will have a total understanding. Oh, okay, your agent can't be created because it may attempt to bypass guidelines. Oh wow, this is something interesting. Okay, so let me quickly check what it does not like. Help with emails. Let me try again. Okay, your agent was created successfully. That's nice. Probably a glitch on the first try. So now if we go to agent, we have a message advisory assistant. So it tries to reference the previous chat, but I don't need previous chat. So let's actually use a new chat instead. And we can ask what were the most urgent emails in July. I don't particularly use this inbox for my business or my personal account. That's why there will be no big emails whatsoever, but there will be a few emails and I receive invoices. And then there was this pilot project that I was using as a demo. So that's why we have a few. So it says, okay, express pilot project decision, series of emails, blah, 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 strategic confirmation. Final push for local approval. These threats collected represent the most urgent communication, basically that we were needed to kind of pay attention to, because other emails were just simply invoices or something like this that is not that urgent or important to get the context for. So the cool part about this particular agent is that once you create it and provide additional instructions how you want it to respond, what knowledge base it has, you may use this agent in any other app. So for example, if I go to Word and I will need to use Copilot here, I can click @ and you will see get agent. So now, apart from analyst or researcher, I will have a message advisory assistant, and I can call this particular agent within this chat in the Word document that I have. So basically, I know that my message advisory assistant will have access to all my emails. And if I need to use the context of all the emails here, is just much faster and easier. Instead of here typing and searching for a specific email, I can actually go and chat with my agent because my agent automatically has access to all the emails. So think about how you can build different agents across your Microsoft workspace that have access almost to all of the data, and you can use it in almost like any application. It could be like very, very unique. You can even have few agents working for you, responding, having access to different files, and basically all over the workspace account referencing each another. That's pretty unique. That's kind of amazing feature that you have here, and you don't have in ChatGPT, because if you have it dynamically linked to all your emails, you don't need to manually update after each email comes in. Basically, it will have the live data, live information, and if you need the information about today's emails, that's all in. That's all in here. So that's pretty cool, and that's why agents are so powerful, because they work across the whole organization and the whole workspace. All right, so let's move on. We've talked a lot about the agents here. So you can have conversation, and those are basically previous conversations that you had before. I'm not going to stop there. Pages, we already discussed that, so let's skip the pages. When we talk about notebooks, you can create notebooks, but there are no really much AI features in it, so I'm gonna skip that. But where I'm gonna stop is the create functions for sure. So the create functions are sort of unique because they allow you to create visuals in much simpler format than you can create them in ChatGPT, for example. And let's start with the simple examples. We can go and create an image like this, and here we can just describe the image style that we want. You can do the brand color, and you can see different examples here and inspire yourself as well. But we're gonna start with the poster, because sometimes for us, especially in marketing, we need to do a lot of posters for ads, we need to do posters for promo posts, we need to do posters for stories, and that usually takes a lot of time because you need to coordinate this with the designer. So here, what is pretty cool, you have a few examples that you can already use right in here. For example, I can go and say, I want to use this example. So in this example, it already provides you with fill in the words that you need to place in order to generate the poster you actually want. For example, a poster that reads, AI agents are here. Say hello to Flow by AI. That's another company that focuses on AI services in my business, crafted to deliver automated agents that do work faster and cheaper than humans. include, so what we want to include on the poster, let's include minimalistic waves, blue tone, patience, whatever, I don't know, with with dots and waves, whatever. Let's do with dots and waves, put right in here. And let me say all under a clear, minimalistic, again, design in a Vaporware style, whatever this is. We can actually add this prompt, but here, what is another thing pretty cool is we can pre-select different colors that we're gonna use here, or we can create a brand kit again with our own colors. I'm just gonna use the pre-selected colors for this example, and let's go in and generate the poster and see how that actually works. Let's hit create. Basically here you can see a few other examples that I've used before to generate the poster for me. But now we're going to generate something like this. Okay, so AI agents are here, and the future is automated and it created. Let me go. You can click edit basically. And the cool part about the designing posters in the Copilot app is that everything is editable. Because if you generate such a picture or such a poster in ChatGPT, it's not editable. It's just a picture, and you will need to use third-party apps to edit the image. Instead, here in Copilot, that's all editable. So I can go and say, amazing work, and it automatically right in here. I can pre-select different styles, I can pre-select different fonts, I can transform it, brand it the way I actually want, and it's all editable straight in here. And it's really, in fact, in the way I kind of envisioned how it should work. You can even go and transform the picture, you can channelize the style, you can generate different picture, etc. So let's do brutalist style, for example. Let's see if it makes it any more brutal than it is right now. Okay, so let me take a look. So this is what is generated. So if you don't like the first design that is generated, you can pretty much change it right in here, and you have different options. Again, if you don't like it, you can regenerate, etc. That's pretty cool. That makes it so much easier to generate poster marketing material without you kind of wasting a lot of time with a designer. And if you don't like what it generates, that's an amazing kind of sketch that you can send to the designer and add your specifics later if you don't like the specific designs they create. Oh, and by the way, if we generated posters and we like a particular design, we can go, of course, and download the poster. So once we click download, we will save it as PNG, and you can later on use it for your own purposes. Okay, let's take a look at the another option. So you can also create different videos. For example, we can go and say, create a video, and a group of people in conference room working actively on a project. Everyone is discussing stuff, and one person stands and does something. So the difference between video creation here is that it does not generate new video per se. What it does is actually collecting different B-roll from the internet and combines this all into one video, because it takes just 15 seconds for a video of 49 minutes. Let's actually take a look how that works.
Energy fills the conference room as a passionate team dives into their latest project, bringing ideas and creativity to the table.
Every voice counts as the team buzzes with conversation, sharing suggestions and challenging each other to think bigger and bolder.
At the front,
right, as you may see, of course, this is not AI generated footage. So basically, this is the B-roll combined together. It even added some text on the slides, which is nice, and even added the audio kind of overlay with main ideas appearing, which is nice. Again, you can edit the stuff, you can select the style and tone, you can select the voice, you can select the music, again, and save different versions. So kind of, if you need a short B-roll video for your presentations, that kind of be quickly created right in here. I'm literally spent on this like 15 seconds. So that's kind of amazing. Another thing, we can of course create a form right in here. I'm not sure if any of you guys use the form, Microsoft Forms, but this is for any service or feedbacks, etc. And if I give it a simple prompt like create a form with first name, last name, email, address, a feedback, instead of me going and manually creating each form, reselecting the answers, etc., I can just go and type it, tell it what I wanted to see, and basically that's done automatically for me. It's the first name, last name, email address, etc. So I can go click collect responses and send out the link. So I don't need manually go and type all that stuff and pre-select different options. That's done for me already right in here. That's pretty cool. Another thing is we can design a banner, right? So there are different banners that we may use for different purposes. And for example, I can go and say, I need to create a banner. So let me say create, let me go with this one. Let me go create a banner of Flowbyte benefits, AI agents, process automation, chatbots, company name, Flowbyte, slogan, scale business with innovative solutions, blah, blah, blah. For the brand kit, again, I'm going to use these colors. And for the word, for the size of the banner, let's actually use Word document. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, so we got a couple banners right in here. So we've got, I don't even know which one I like more, but it definitely did include all the information. Maybe it was just a little place, or maybe there was just a smaller place to include all that, because I prompted it to include process automation, chatbots, etc. It just included AI agents and automations basically in the prompt. But what is pretty cool, again, this banner again is editable. If I need this banner to change this image, again, I can go and say, let's change the style, let's create something. We've used brutal hyper render, something like this, and it will regenerate the image right in here. It will keep the text the same. We can adjust the font, we can adjust the size, and we can even move it whenever we want it to move. So that's pretty nice, and it's all doable automatically here in the in this Copilot application, instead of me just going and manually dragging and dropping this in Canva or asking a designer to do this for me. Then another cool thing is you can work with images, and I'm not going to go in too much detail on this one. You can change the colors, you can remove backgrounds, and there are plenty of applications that do this on the market. But instead of you going and using different third-party apps, you can all do this in Copilot, which is pretty amazing. And so many people don't know about this. So I do suggest start using these features, because this is amazing. This is what you would be paying for in other apps, and you have all of them inbuilt here. For example, I'm paying for Canva, but just because my designer actually works in Canva and kind of got used to it. But here you pretty much get to do most of the things that you can do in Canva. You can do erase objects, you can do even upscaling, moving different objects to different places, erasing, blurring background, creating stickers, and so on. So that's up to your imagination. But there are a few things I wanted to show you a little bit more. Well, so once you click more button, there are more things that appear here. So let me go through each of these. So brand kits. So you can create your own brand kit with your own colors right in here. So you go and just tell it what are your brand colors. So that whenever you're going to use different banners or different images, you can use your own brand kit with your colors. There are brand templates that you may use, and there are some other things. So let me go. The document presentation and workbook, we already covered creation of these in the different videos on Microsoft Copilot series for Microsoft apps. If you missed some of these, please go and watch these videos in the same playlist. I will put the link somewhere here. So it's all available, and I'm not gonna stop here. Same goes with the draft. If you want to create a draft from a certain document, that's gonna do the same in the chat, in a Word document, etc. But there are a few things that are really nice, and I want to show you. So one of them is infographic. We can go actually and describe the infographic. We can pre-select the infographic right in here. If I like the style of this one, I can go and just type in how I want it to look, or I can go and just basically describe it right in here. So let me go with I don't want to use this one, so I'm gonna go and say, hey, create a professional, visually engaging infographic titled boosting productivity with Microsoft 365 apps, blah blah blah. So let's use the brand colors. So now we have a little bit more color, so we're gonna use something like this, the infographic type. So I will select probably this one, because it mostly looks to what I'm looking for, and the portrait size. So let's click create and see what kind of infographic we can get. So basically I just provided with the information I need to put on the infographic about Microsoft Copilot, And automatically, look at this, how amazing it is. It actually puts its own slide, and these infographics look so amazing. You can pretty much create few infographics and put them as a post on your LinkedIn and put them on social media. So much easier. All the icons, all the colors, all are here, and it's all editable. This makes it so much easier to work with any kind of design. I like this feature so much. This is really, really amazing. It saves so much time. And it really looks really decent. I mean, it's usable. It's usable, and you can start working. You can post these things. This is so amazing. What is cool part, again, it's all editable, and you can even download it straight to your desktop. Again, you can pre-select different infographics, and again, if you don't like, you can create new ones. This is so amazing. I like this feature so much. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is basically the storyline. And you may have seen some of the posts on LinkedIn like this. For example, there is Sean Mooney, why I still build in Excel. And there is one, transparency, flexibility, sort of nicer design, which is probably was manually created, I guess, because that's what usually people mostly do right now, or do this in Canva. But here you can create a storyline right inside the Copilot and use it as it is. For example, here there are 6 slides or 5 slides about vibe coding, or in different format, or what Stoicism taught me about work. There are like 5 pictures like this, but I would usually prefer more of something like this. So we can go and say, for example, create a story outline, and we're gonna go and use again our own story. Create a story. What is Copilot 365 apps and how it works, include details, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, blah, blah, blah. So let's use again the style, and for the style we use something like modern minimalism. For the brand color, again, we're going to use the same colors, and let's use this as a portrait, or for LinkedIn sometimes, square. Let's actually quickly check. This was the portrait format. So let's do the portrait format. So now instead of just one picture or one infographic, you can generate like 5 slides instantly. There will be less context on the slide, so that it's easier visible, and also with a bigger font. Because when you create an infographic, there is usually a lot of information on a single page, right? Because we want to put all the information on a single infographic so that you can use for navigation or whatever other reasons. For the storyline, that's a bit different story. But of course, you can also generate like 5 infographics and create a storyline out of this one. So let's wait a couple seconds to see what's going to be our storyline here. And look at these stories. This looks amazing. So Copilot 365 apps. And let me actually zoom in. So that's the first slide, your AI productivity. So I can use what Copilot Apps is. AI is at the heart of Microsoft, brings intelligent assistant to Work, Excel, even generated text, generated nice infographic, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Copilot draft text, generate summaries, analyze data. It sort of generated the PowerPoint example, Excel example, probably Word example, which I really like. Copilot in Teams and the meeting summary, and boost your productivity. And the last slide. Of course, there are probably missing a slide on Copilot for whatever, like PowerPoint or something, and just included it here. It didn't provide any specific detail. If I were to do this, I would probably do a separate slide for each app, for Word, for PowerPoint, for Excel, etc. But the fact that just from one prompt we can get workable solution that we can take and just post on LinkedIn, and that will be just a perfect visual. If you're hitting on the text content, that would be the most value, and this is just supplementary images, then basically that works just fine. You would just put all the information in the text, and then this is a supplement. And just because this is going to be like a carousel on LinkedIn or Facebook or anywhere else, people will click through, and it's just easy, big text, images, showing nice visuals. This will take like, hours for the designer to make. And now we can do this pretty quickly with just a simple prompt. I think if we just play with it a little bit more, we can create like a story for each specific app if we prompt it more explicitly, and then basically use it for our social, for whatever other social media or anywhere else. So that's basically it. And I think Copilot app is actually one of the best things we can get besides Microsoft 365 apps. Yes, you can use it for Excel, you can use it for Word, for PowerPoint, but the things you can do here within one workspace, you create an agent and reference the agent between the whole Microsoft ecosystem, right? You can reference it within Word or Excel. the fact that we can actually use and create and design so many things just natively telling what we want to do, instead of us learning the prompting techniques to create sort of similar design in ChatGPT or any other apps. We can do it with plain language, with simple prompting techniques right inside Copilot. And so many people don't know about this. So many people don't know that you can create audio overviews of your files in Word and then save it. And now with even like creating presentations, that simplifies the stuff so much. You can do it pretty much from one prompt, and this will, significantly boost the productivity. We're living in the exciting time and era of, if you're not learning how to use this stuff, think about other people that will generate, tons of, such images, brands, posters, stories, whatever other things with AI. It just makes it so easier, like even presentations, because I believe that consistency actually beats perfectionism. And if you can produce content or information or projects at scale, because AI actually allows us to do at scale. Like, a couple years ago, this will take us, a few days to develop a storyline, a few days to design a storyline, a few days to research the information. Now we're using research agent, analyst agent, we're creating our own agent. We have an agent to create the vibe for us, basically design a poster, design a storyline, an infographic, and it's all done within one day. With person that knows how to prompt AI, how to use the most advanced tools. I'm not even talking about like advanced coding techniques here. I'm talking about the basic stuff. You just need to know, hey, this is possible right now, and you can do this. And I hope you guys, after watching this, you understand that if you're using Microsoft Office, there are limitless possibilities how you can actually make things much, much faster within your existing ecosystem and workspace. And the last thing I wanted to show you guys, you can also use Copilot in Edge. So if some of you actually are using Edge browser, the difference between like Chrome or Firefox or any other is that Copilot actually sits on the top right corner right in here. And if we are on whatever other website, for example, the article from Wired, what's inside the Tiny Miracle, I can go on this website and ask my Copilot, what is this article about? Summarize in 5 bullet points. And now I don't need actually to read the article. It might be the case that this article is actually under the paywall as well. But if I'm asking my AI, it will very nicely take this information and provide me with a summary what this is about with 5 bullet points, etc. You can also ask it to think deeper. You can also initiate a deep research feature, what is actually under the paywall, because on the free account, if you go Copilot.ai on the free account, it doesn't allow to run deep research. But here, if you're using it on the Bing, that's actually possible. You can use it for free. So that's pretty nice. And once again, you can upload different files. You can even, for your response, use different tabs. If you have many tabs in your Edge account and you were switching between different sites and you need to take the content from the sites into account, you can reference it right in here. And last but not least, you can have Microsoft Copilot app. And if you go on your phone, you can download it here and you will have Microsoft Copilot. The functionality of the app is pretty much the same, so I will not even demo it because it just doesn't make sense. It has everything the same that you will have on your personal account in your Copilot.ai, or you will have much more functionality if you're on a professional account. The functionality is the same, it's just the convenience way that you can have it on your phone, and whenever you go, you can always chat with your Copilot. One workspace, less friction. We brainstormed, pull in the right helpers, analyzed data, researched, edited, and shipped assets without hopping tools or leaking context. That's how teams turn AI from novelty into data. If you want pre-built agents in a governed workspace tailored to your processes, reach out to us at info.flowbyte.ai. This wraps the series. Check the playlist for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, and Teams. Like, subscribe, and tell me which episode you like the most. Thank you, and see you in the next one.